Let's slowly trace the wisdom of yin and yang. How can we translate this into principles for wise living? The first principle is that in truth, there is a speck of error, and in error, there is a drop of truth. This is just like the yin-yang symbol. In the white area, there's a black dot, and in the black area, there's a white dot. The truth we hold, because we are human, is certainly not perfect, and the mistakes we make are not totally dark. There's always a small, perhaps unrealized, point of truth within them. You might remember the story of a prostitute who went to heaven just for giving a thirsty dog a drink, normatively, using religious, social, or moral law. This woman is in the black territory, but in the blackness of her life, there was one small white dot, her compassion for a thirsty dog. And it turns out, from that one small white dot, God was pleased, and she went to heaven. Her vast blackness was erased by that tiny white dot. Conversely. You might have heard the fictitious story of a religious scholar who went to hell just because of a tiny bit of greed. A scholar should be a white person, but there was one black dot in his life story that invited God's displeasure. The story goes that on his way home from a neighbor's house, perhaps after a feast, he had food stuck in his teeth. Unconsciously, he broke off a tiny piece of wood from his neighbor's fence to use as a toothpick. It was very small, and the neighbor probably wouldn't have cared. But his carelessness with someone else's property, even a tiny bit, invited God's displeasure. So, his whiteness, because of one small black dot, did not save him. So, the first principle is this. In truth, there can be a speck of devastating error if you're not careful. And in error, don't despair. There must still be points of truth. Now for the second principle, also from yin and yang. Excessive kindness will bear the fruit of evil. Today, there's a lot of talk about living in moderation and balance. This principle suggests that even good things must be done in a balanced way, not excessively. Eating is good, but overeating is bad. Giving to charity is good, but giving excessively to the point of neglecting your own needs is bad. The Quran says, do not be excessive. Prayer is good, but praying constantly is bad. There's a story about the Prophet. When he was out, some companions visited his home, and his wife told him how seriously religious the Prophet was, praying at night and fasting often. The guests felt that if the Prophet, who is guaranteed paradise, is so devout, then they must be even more so. One said, then I will no longer sleep. I will pray all night. Another said, I will fast continuously every day. And another said, I will focus only on religion, stay away from worldly things, and not marry. When the Prophet returned and heard this, he said, I am more fearful of God than you are, but I fast, and I also break my fast. I pray at night, but I also sleep. And I also marry, he concluded by saying, whoever dislikes my way is not one of my followers. This view aligns with the principle that excessive good is bad. Anything in overdose becomes bad. Parents' love for their child is natural, but too much love becomes indulgence. Being firm is good, but being excessively firm becomes authoritarian. Courage is good, but being too bold is reckless. So anything that's overdone bears bad fruit. This is the rhythm of nature we must understand. Run everything in its proper measure. The third principle is, the more a person gives, the more they will receive. The illustration for this is easy. You often hear clerics say that generous people who share their wealth find their sustenance flows more smoothly and their lives become more prosperous. The logic is simple. When we are willing to share with others, we position ourselves as a channel for their sustenance. The more we open ourselves to be a channel for others, the more God will entrust their sustenance to pass through us. The more God trusts us, the more flows through us. We are like a gutter that carries water. It always stays wet. So, the more we open ourselves as a channel of sustenance for others, God willing, the more we will receive. This isn't just about wealth. It's also true for knowledge. For example, you might feel you gain new insights from listening to my talks. But if you're observant, the one who benefits the most with new insights is me. To prepare for these talks, I have to search for material and read various things, so my knowledge constantly increases. I am grateful to all of you who are willing to listen. as you help me stay motivated to expand my horizons. You might think I am sincerely sharing knowledge, but it comes back to me. Thank you for allowing me to be that channel for knowledge. The more we give, the more we receive. Giving and taking are a pair, like yin and yang, and they mutually affect each other. This applies to kind words, respect, and more. It's a law of nature. The fourth principle. Behind calamity, there is a gift. Calamity is something we perceive as negative, while a gift from God is something we see as positive, but these two are like two sides of the same coin. Behind disaster, there is a gift. This pandemic, for example, has an extraordinary silver lining for those willing to see it. Many people became closer to their families because they couldn't go anywhere. For some, this disaster provided opportunities to improve themselves, for introspection, and to get closer to God. There are so many calamities that produce gifts. You can read the stories of great sea. They all had moments of falling, but those moments became the starting point for their greatest comeback. Behind the calamity, there is a gift. Next principle. Compliments make you complacent, while criticism makes you alert. A compliment is positive, and criticism is negative, but sometimes the outcomes are reversed. Too many compliments can make a person complacent, so the positive produces a negative. But when someone is criticized, they might introspect and become more alert and improve. The negative produces a positive, so we must always be careful. Compliments don't add to our quality, but they can make us slip. Criticism, if we are good, doesn't turn good into bad. And if we are bad, criticism doesn't make us good. These are just comments from the outside. But with criticism, we are encouraged to become better, whereas with praise, we might feel we are already great and stop growing. In the age of social media, we get a lot of praise and criticism. We should stay alert. If a post gets many likes and positive comments, we might feel proud and stagnate. Conversely, negative comments can motivate us to work harder and become better. Finally, the person you love the most is also the one who can cause you the deepest pain. Love is positive. We associate it with happiness. Its opponent is heartache. It turns out, in this world, the person we love most has the greatest potential to bring us pain. This is natural. If someone we love deceives us, our disappointment is much greater than if we were deceived by a stranger. The person we love carries the seeds of the greatest pain. This doesn't mean we shouldn't love, just love. But remember this natural law. Love and heartache are a package. If we understand this formula, maybe the pain won't be so deep. You might wonder why the pain is so deep. The answer is probably because your love is also very deep. So, the person you love the most is also the one who might give you the most pain. Thanks for listening.